The relationship you're in right now, it's probably going to fail. That's not a prediction. It's a statistical probability based on 2 decades of watching people just like you, systematically dismantle the very thing they claim to cherish. You believe love is enough, don't you? You think passion, compatibility, or even a shared Netflix queue can insulate you from disaster. You're wrong. What destroys relationships isn't one cataclysmic event. It's the slow, steady drip of 7 toxic habits you practice every single day. These aren't just mistakes, they are choices, and they are carving a canyon between you and your partner that you will eventually fall into. I'm not here to give you soft advice, I'm here to deliver a harsh, clinical wake up call straight from the consultation room where countless relationships have flatlined. Stop deluding yourself. If you recognize these patterns, your relationship is already on life support. Let's confront the first, most insidious killer, the refusal to accept influence. You see your relationship as a debate you must win, a stronghold of your own singular opinion. When your partner voices a concern, a feeling, or even a simple preference that contradicts yours, your immediate knee jerk reaction is to defend, deflect, and dismiss. You don't hear their perspective, you're just reloading your own argument. This isn't strength, it's profound immaturity. Healthy relationships are built on a foundation of mutual deference, where both partners treat the other's internal reality as valid. When you reject their influence, what you are communicating in a language louder than any words is, "You do not matter as much as my comfort or my rightness." This creates an emotional stalemate. Your partner stops trying, stops sharing, and starts building an emotional life separate from yours. And that, my friend, is the preamble to a final bitter silence. Now, let's talk about the next psychological sledgehammer you wield, the weaponization of contempt. This goes far beyond simple frustration or a heated argument. Contempt is the sulfuric acid of emotional connection. It's when you adopt a position of moral or intellectual superiority and communicate disgust towards your partner. It manifests as eye rolling, cynical sarcasm, mockery, name calling, or even just a tone of voice that implies they are beneath you, incompetent, stupid, or pathetic. Think about that for a moment. You look at the person you profess to love and you feel disgust. In the thousands of couples I've seen, contempt is the single greatest predictor of divorce. It destroys the partner's self-esteem and shatters the possibility of good faith. How can you collaborate with someone you fundamentally disrespect? The simple answer is, you can't. Contempt is not an emotion. It is a tactical choice to inflict damage, and once it is unleashed, it is almost impossible to recall. You must eradicate it. Replace it with a culture of appreciation, a daily commitment to notice what they do right, not just what they do wrong. Because the moment you start treating your partner like the enemy, the war is already lost. This leads us directly to the habit that often follows contempt, the pervasive practice of criticism, not complaint. There is a crucial difference. A complaint is specific. "I'm upset because you left the dishes in the sink today." A criticism is global and attacks character. "You are a selfish, lazy person who never thinks about anyone but yourself." See the difference? One addresses an isolated behavior. The other attacks the person's identity. If you are constantly cataloging your partner's flaws, if your primary mode of communication is pointing out their deficiencies, you are creating an environment of perpetual failure. They will stop feeling safe with you. They will become defensive, closed off, and anxious around you because they know every interaction is a potential performance review that they are destined to fail. The alternative is to use I statements, to own your feeling, and to request a specific change in behavior, not a wholesale personality transplant. Stop trying to sculpt your partner into an idealized version of themselves. Accept the person you chose. The fourth habit, subtle but deadly, is emotional stonewalling. This is the psychological retreat, the silent treatment elevated to a defense mechanism. When a conflict escalates, you mentally check out, you clam up, you stop making eye contact, you physically leave the room or simply sit there, offering monosyllabic grunts. You may believe you're de-escalating the situation or protecting yourself from stress, but for your partner, this is an act of supreme emotional abandonment. It communicates, I am refusing to engage with your pain or my responsibility in this matter. It's a power move, a form of emotional control that shuts down all possibility of repair. Your partner is left screaming into a void, which is a terrifying and demoralizing experience. If you are physiologically overwhelmed, and stonewalling often happens when your heart rate is over 100 beats per minute, then you must be accountable for a timeout. Announce that you are overwhelmed, state clearly that you need 20 minutes to calm down, and most critically, commit to a time to return to the conversation. Stonewalling is passive aggression. A structured timeout is adult communication. Next on the roster of relationship executioners is the compulsive avoidance of conflict. This sounds noble, doesn't it? We never fight. But avoiding conflict is not the same as having peace. It's merely having a ceasefire while a war rages underground. These couples mistake silence for intimacy. They fear the discomfort of a difficult conversation so much that they let grievances fester. Major incompatibilities go unaddressed, and resentment build like sludge in a pipe. They talk about everything around the relationship, the weather, the kids, the bills, but never the relationship itself. Then one day, the pressure builds too high and the sludge pipe bursts, usually over something trivial like a misplaced car key. The true danger here is that avoiding conflict means avoiding intimacy. Intimacy is built in the shared struggle, in the vulnerability of saying, "This bothers me, and I need your help to fix it." When you refuse to fight, you refuse to fix. You are prioritizing short-term comfort over the long-term health of your partnership. Our sixth destructive pattern is one you see everywhere: the scorekeeping mentality. You're not a couple, you're two litigators negotiating a transactional ledger. I took out the trash 3 times this week, so you owe me dinner out. I listened to your work drama for an hour, so don't complain about my golf game. This tit-for-tat dynamic transforms love into a debt collection agency. The underlying psychological message is, my contributions are contingent on yours. You are not giving freely, you are investing with the expectation of an immediate equal return. Love is not a barter system. A partnership works on a fundamental generous imbalance where both partners are striving to give more than they receive, not less. When you start keeping score, you stop seeing your partner's unique and often quiet contributions, and you start measuring their worth by your own narrow, arbitrary metrics. The marriage of two accountants is not a recipe for passion, it's a recipe for resentment. Stop waiting to be repaid. Just give. Finally, we arrive at the habit that seals the fate of most relationships: the failure to proactively maintain shared meaning. This is the big one. Your relationship didn't start because you needed a roommate to split the rent with. It started because you shared a vision. You had dreams, rituals, jokes, and symbols that were unique to you two, a private universe of significance. Over time, as work, kids, mortgages, and the crushing weight of routine set in, you slowly stop investing in this shared meaning. You stop talking about your collective future. You stop creating new, meaningful rituals. You stop celebrating your private history. You become two ships passing in the night, coexisting under the same roof but sailing to different destinations. A strong relationship requires a deliberate, daily effort to revisit and refresh your why. What are your shared values now? What is the legacy you want to build together? If your relationship is merely functional, running errands and paying bills, it is vulnerable to obsolescence. You must actively cultivate an environment where your partner feels seen, understood, and like an essential part of a grander collective project. Your partnership is a living entity, and if you stop feeding it, it starves. The truth is painful, isn't it? You came here perhaps looking for the magic phrase, the secret loophole, but there is none. There is only work. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the architect of your own relational destruction. Every single one of these 7 habits: the refusal to accept influence, the weaponization of contempt, constant criticism, stonewalling, conflict avoidance, scorekeeping, and the failure to build shared meaning, is a choice. You can continue down this path of denial, blaming your partner, or you can have the courage to look inward, to accept accountability, and to implement the difficult necessary changes. The change doesn't start when your partner finally gets it right. It starts the moment you stop getting it wrong. The relationships that survive are not the ones with no problems, but the ones whose partners have the psychological fortitude to repair their inevitable mistakes. This is your wake up call. I want to know which one of these 7 habits you've been practicing. Be honest, be raw, and be accountable. Drop a comment below right now and name the single habit that has been poisoning your connection. Stop hiding. Stop lying to yourself. This work requires commitment. It requires you to show up. So, if you are serious about fighting for your relationship, not just passively watching it die, then like this video, subscribe to this channel, and commit to the hard work of building something that will actually last. Your future self and the person you claim to love are depending on it. The time for soft excuses is over. The time for change is now.